Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Happy Friday. My name is Terry White, worldwide photography evangelist here at Adobe, and it's my pleasure to be streaming to you on my favorite day of the week, Masterclass Friday, once again. For those of you who are new or first timers, we do a masterclass typically every Friday, unless we're traveling or we're off or company's closed, whatever the case may be. But we try to do them Fridays. And it's an all-day event. It's master classes from each of the worldwide evangelists here at Adobe, doing their various disciplines: graphic design, photography, video and audio, Photoshop, digital painting, and UI UX design. So you cover the whole spectrum all day long. Obviously, most people can't be live all day long unless, you got a day off or something. But if you miss it, you can always watch the replay. Hang on for a second. There, that's better. And we're live, so I can't cut that out. It's live. So with that said, if you are watching live, which many of you are right now, I see a bunch of people in the room. I see Sean, Larry Anderson, Enlightened Swami, Ozzy, James, so forth and so on, Thomas. But if you are watching live and you are watching somewhere other than Adobe Live, head over to b.net/Adobe Live if you want to participate in the main chat where people ask questions and make comments or answer questions, whatever. If you want to participate there. Now, I do see people on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and so forth and so on. So I see is that West Draw 1, I think it is, and Jamin and Gasta over on Facebook and YouTube, but I won't always be able to look at both chats. So the main chat I'll be focusing on is one on my right, which is Adobe Live, and the one on the left is everything else. And if I see it, great. If I don't see it, oh well. Like you can go head over to the other one and ask. All right. So with that said, today we're going to be doing a topic that I was going to call Adobe Express for photographers, but then I thought, well, if you're a photographer and you didn't know what Adobe Express was, you might not tune in. So I called it something to the effect of, I don't even remember, like your social media on, or your photos on social media, something to that effect. Anyway, whatever it's called, that's what we're doing today. But we're going to use Adobe Express. I'm going to take you completely through it, something I don't usually get a chance to do. I'm going to give you a little background on it because some people are confused. Well, what's Adobe Express? Is that Adobe Spark? Is it free? Do I have to pay extra for it? So forth and so on. So we're going to get through all of that. And no, you don't have to pay extra for it. But we're going to really just hone in on photographers that are not designers that want to participate on social media with their photography. In other words, you don't want to just post an image with a description. You want to actually design something beautiful with your photography incorporated in it. And maybe it's not even just for social media. Maybe you're working on a flyer. Maybe you need an announcement. Maybe you want an Instagram story, which is social media. Maybe you want a business card. Maybe you want an invitation to your next gallery opening. Whatever it is, Adobe Express can be that tool for you to handle all of those things if you don't have a professional designer on hand that you can just hand stuff off to and say, hey, go design this for me. You're good. You're better than me. Go do it. So that's what Adobe Express is all about, and that's what we're going to do. All right. Glad that you're catching this live as well, Marcus. And Instagram has the best lunch photos. I agree. And with that said, let's go. Hey, Sin, let's go ahead and dive right in. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop. And let's give you a little bit of background, just a couple seconds of background so you kind of know where this is coming from, and also platforms and so forth and so on. So first and foremost, yes, Adobe Express is what we used to call Adobe Spark. So Spark was made up of three things. It was made up of Spark Post, Spark Page, and Spark Video. All of those components have made their way into Adobe Express, plus a lot more. Next thing, does it cost me money? Usually no, because either A, you can use it for free, even if you're not an Adobe customer currently, you don't have Creative Cloud at all, you can just go to express.adobe.com, which is the website, and use it for free. Create an Adobe ID, which is free, log in, and start using it. However, if you are a paid member, which many of you are because you're using Photoshop and Lightroom, maybe you have the photography plan, maybe you have the full plan. Whatever plan you have, you can use Adobe Express, clearly, because it was for people for free too, but you get more that you can do. So people that are paying can do more. People that aren't paying can still use it. And most of what I'm showing today can be used whether you're paying or not. I'm going to show you a couple things that are kind of cool that if you're paying, you're going to get access to those. If not, no big deal. All right, so thanks, Wade, for putting the link in the chat. But the link I actually prefer is an easier one than that. It's just simply express.adobe.com. It will, there we go, express.adobe.com. What am I doing here? Let's try that again. Express.adobe.com will take you to the site, and it will, if you haven't logged in yet, it'll tell you like a little description. You just say start here. And then if you are logged in, it'll take you to the page I'm on. All right, so what's this page? And oh, I was going to talk about platforms before we get into it. So Express is a website, express.adobe.com. There we go, Wade, thanks. But it's also mobile apps. So you have Adobe Express on iOS and Android. And so, for example, here, let me fire up my phone. I think I have it open in the background. There it is. So I'm running the Express app as we speak. So this is it. I can scroll through. I can see all the templates. I can see down at the bottom projects that I've already worked on before. I can go back and re-edit those or rework on those or create duplicates of those and use them again and again. I have at the top how to create a new project based on what I'm trying to do. So whether it's something for social media, whether it's something for print, whether it's something for PDF, whatever it is, I have templates that are beautifully designed by professionals to use for this. So whether you want to do it on your phone or your iPad, or whether you want to do it on your website, on your computer, either way. So it is not a desktop application. So speaking of platforms, if you're on your computer, then you are using it in your web browser. If you're on your mobile device, then you download Adobe Express, which is the main part of what we're going to be doing today. And the other applications for web pages and videos are still labeled Spark. So Spark Page, Spark Video. I know that's confusing. I wish the branding would go ahead and just rename those two. But Adobe Express, first thing you look for, and then we'll talk about the other things if you want to do it on mobile. All right, now speaking of mobile versus web, mobile has a couple features that web doesn't have. Web has a lot of features that mobile doesn't have. So if you're looking for the full experience, you're going to be able to do more on web. If you're looking for, hey, I'm out and about and I'm shooting and I want to go ahead and quickly post this to social, then obviously you're going to use your phone. You're not going to wait till you get back to your computer to do it. So you can definitely do most things on both. But if you want to take full advantage of it, you can take full advantage of it in your browser. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in now. All right, so I've got express.adobe.com open here. And what I want to point out before we jump into a template and start using it is I want to point out these quick actions first, because sometimes, or most times, you probably know what you want to do. Like, you know what the end result is. I need a flyer. I need a postcard. I need a business card. I need an Instagram story. I need a Facebook post. I need a Twitter post, whatever. You know what it is. You know what you want to end up with. And then you start thinking, what do I want on it? So you start thinking of the photographs that you want on it. And if you need to do something to those photographs, probably best to do it first before you jump in and start trying to design. So my Lightroom and Photoshop users, you already know all this. You're going to dive into Lightroom. You're going to dive into Photoshop. You're going to adjust photos because you are a photographer. You're going to adjust them to your liking. Awesome. But if you, for example, you're a Lightroom user and you don't use Photoshop, or you're not good at Photoshop, or you're new to Photoshop, then maybe the quick action to remove a background, for example, would be for you. because you're saying, I don't know how to do that in Photoshop yet. I'm a Lightroom user. I've got my photo adjusted the way I want, but I want to get rid of the background before I put it on a template. So that would be a good use of an express quick action. Maybe I want to take a quick little video I shot with my phone and make an animated GIF for social. That would be another quick action. Maybe on that flyer, business card, event card, whatever it is, I'm going to put a QR code so people can just scan it with their phone and go to my website, go to my portfolio. So those would be the quick actions you would do first before you jump in and just start designing, because then you would have all the pieces done for you to add to your design. So let me show you a couple of them real quick. So first and foremost, since remove background is one we all get, we've all been there. We've all either done it or wanted to do it. So at some point in time, you've had a subject that you wanted to cut out of the background. So right here above my head, here, let me switch over to the right side. Right here above my head, or it used to be above my head, is the remove background. So if I click remove background, it's going to simply say, drag and drop an image onto this. Now, what I wish it would do, Adobe Express team, if you're watching this, what I wish it would do is also give me the option to grab the photo from my other sources like you do in the other places like Lightroom. But in this case, I've already exported the image from Lightroom as a JPEG. I'm just going to go ahead and bring it in. For those of you who were here last time I streamed, not last week, week before last, where I did the live photo shoot, remember that? We were doing lighting. I'll use one of those images so you can kind of see it work with a real image that you saw me take. So her name was Chandra, so I have a couple of Chandra images here. I have this one, and I have that one. Oh, let's use the one with a little bit of smile. All right, so we got the smile one there. That's the one I want to use. I'm just going to go ahead and say upload. And I'm not doing anything else. I just said upload the image. And Adobe Express says, okay, no problem. Background's gone. So now at this point, you have two choices. You can customize it, meaning maybe it might have missed a piece, and you go in and you can brush out a piece that it missed. In this case, it didn't. Or you can go ahead and just start designing with it right off the bat. So, I mean, if you use customize. If you just simply say, great, that took out the background the way I want it, now I want to download it, and that way I can use it forever on anything else I do, then just click download, and it will download a transparent PNG file. So that will be no background, just your subject cut out just the way we see it now. So I'm going to go ahead and click download. That will put it in my downloads folder on my computer because it downloads it like any other file. And I saw it fly over from Safari. It went to my downloads folder. And now at this point, my image has been downloaded. I can either keep editing or I can see a tutorial, but I'm going to go ahead and keep editing. And now here it is on that transparent on a background that it just picked for me that was blue. They kind of matched what was going on, and even did a decent job with her little string of hair here that was flipped up. So I cut out the little piece of background that was in between her hair. So it did a good job. Kudos. All right, so I'm not ready to design with it yet. I just wanted to show you the process of what it goes through. So let's go back home. Now, notice it says saving project. So unlike some of the other desktop tools, it automatically saves for you, so you don't end up like accidentally closing it and you lost it, or maybe you lost your internet connection because you went through a tunnel on the train or whatever. And so everything is automatically being saved so you don't ever lose your work, or you shouldn't lose much work if something happens. All right, so that was, let's do one more of those. Let's remove background. I'm just going to show you a different example, one with more hair. All right, so let's go to Krista. This was another shot we did in a previous masterclass a couple years ago, I think. And again, not bad for somebody with hair, like all around, like unlike me, like hair. So again, I can click download, and that will create a ping file of that for me to download and use forever. All right, so now, again, if I want to keep editing, I can keep editing it. And like, it looks bad on black here. So let's go ahead and say, like, this would not be a great example on a black background. But if I were to use, here, let's go to the background here. Let's change the background color. to a different color, then it works fine. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. So if I was trying to use that on a black background, it failed. I would go cut it out in Photoshop and get a better job. And when it said I could edit it, it's not like the refine tool that lets me refine it and really do the hair better. It's basically just like cutting out with a pair of scissors. So this is one of those cases where if I needed a better cutout with hair because I'm going to put it on a black background, then I would absolutely go in and use Photoshop. In this case, even with the little pieces of white here that I kind of see in her hair, just again, not the best cutout, but it is what it is. So you get what you get with this, and it depends on what you're going to do with it, as opposed to how good it will look. And of course, you can resize it. And depending on what you're putting it on, it may not matter. So we wouldn't want to put it on a gray background. That's what we cut it out from. So let's use something else if we were going to keep this. And also you can put it on a photo too. So if you're changing the background, this may not be a great example. All right, let's go home. Again, I just want to show you what those could do. So you saw a great example, one that worked perfectly. You saw one that, not so great, depending on what I'm going to put it on. So just to show you the spectrum. All right, next one. So let's say I also wanted to create that QR code to go on the advertisement. It gives her some gray edges. Yes, it does. So if I say generate a QR code, and for those of you like, what's a QR code? It's the code you've been seeing for years now that has made a resurgence. Most restaurants you go into now, they don't pass out a paper menu anymore. They just have a little code on the table. You scan that code and pull up the menu on your phone because they just figure, why do all this printing? Why waste all this paper, especially when the menu changes frequently? And people always have their phones out anyway. So you just pull up the current menu on your phone. So that code you scan with your camera app is a QR code. And also I ran into somebody the other day that like, oh, wait, I couldn't get your thing in time because I was downloading a QR reader. You don't need a reader anymore. Like back in the early days, you had to download special apps to read QR codes. Now both iOS and Android, you just bring up your camera app. So like you're going to take a picture, but you hold it over the code and it will show you the URL and you can tap on it. Okay, so how do we make one of those? So we clicked QR code here. We're going to click generate QR code. And it's now ready to go. So you would either just type in or paste in the link that you want this QR code to go to. So it could be your website, could be your portfolio, could be your social media link, could be your link in bio link. It could be whatever link you want. It could be a link to your menu of your restaurant, whatever link you want. And you're creating a QR code that's a graphic that you're going to download and it's going to be yours forever. So it's going to work as long as the website works that you're linked to. So in this case, I'm going to use my social media link, https://terryleewhite.social. That takes you to all my social. Now, it doesn't work yet until I click create QR code. So now if you were to pick up your phone right now and point at the screen, provided you're watching this not on your phone, it should work. So I'm going to hold my phone up there. And sure enough, if I show you my phone, all right, so there's my phone. And there's the QR code. Hang on. It worked a second ago before I brought my phone up in Inception. So hang on. Hold on. Let's get out of the camera app for a second. Let's go back in. There we go. So now if I tap it, it takes me to that website. So you can do this with your camera app, and now that you've generated that, you can just style it. So styling it doesn't change where it goes or how it works. That's it. So if you just simply say, hey, I like the rounded version better aesthetically, maybe you like ovals and circles instead of squares. It's your choice. It does not make it work any better, faster, different. So pick whatever you want. You can also pick a color if you're going to, add it to a design and you kind of want it to contrast. So for example, if I was going to add it to a black background, this wouldn't work very well. Actually, it would still work because it's going to make the white part still there. But just in case for people to see it, maybe I'd want it to be a different color that stood out. Again, your choice. So I'm going to keep it just simple, black with squares. But then once you are happy with it, You're going to download it, and you can pick the file format you want to download it in. I prefer PNG, again, because it's better for vector graphics. And now it just shows me, hey, we downloaded this to your downloads folder. Now you can start creating with it. So I had two things in my downloads folder, picture of Chandra and a QR code. So now I'm ready to go. Let's get started. So what do I want? So the first question is, what do I want to design? So I could say, I'm a photographer, so I want to design something photography related. So I can just search for all the templates that are photography related. And I could scroll and have fun and look at them and great and see which ones I want. Or I could say, well, that's showing me literally every template that has something to do with photography. Maybe I want to narrow it down to the kind of thing I want to create. So for example, maybe I want to create a flyer. So there's flyers there. Maybe I want to create a YouTube thumbnail because I'm an instructor, and I am an instructor. And maybe I want to create a thumbnail for my latest video. So let's look at those. So when you click on a template, it's basically the right size, the right resolution, the right everything you need for what you just told you wanted. So in other words, I don't have to remember or memorize all those different dimensions and settings for each platform because everything's different. Instagram stories are 9:16 ratio. There's specific resolution they want you to be in. Instagram photos are a different resolution, different orientation, different pixel aspect ratio. Facebook posts, Twitter posts, they're all different. YouTube thumbnails, they're all different. So this way, by starting with a template that's in the category I picked, YouTube thumbnail, then I don't have to worry about it being the right size. All right, so let's say that I like this one, how to ace your competition. I don't have a class based on that, but I like the look of the template. That's the whole point. You're not replacing, you're not using the template, as is. Oh, well, there's a guy with a camera. I guess I got to use that. Oh, well, there's something says photography tutorials. I guess I got to use that. Oh, well, it says how to ace your competition. I guess I got to make a class call that now. No, all of this can be changed. This is just simply to give you an idea and you run with it. So the reason you would pick a template is typically because you like the design of it, not necessarily the content. So it's close to what you want. So template photos, yes, are royalty free. So you could use this photo if you wanted to. Let's say you're this is not a bad example, but let's say you're a dry cleaner and it shows a picture of a shirt going on a press. Well, yeah, that's a royalty free photo. You don't have to use your own photo. You could use that one. And if you are short for photo, let's say you're not a photographer, just to answer the question. So I want to replace this photo with a different photo. If I'm not a photographer, guess what? Featured free. These are all free photos I can search for. I can even search. Let's search for beach photos. So I could search for all the beach photos and find a beach photo and replace it with that one. And these are all royalty free for me to use. So yes, it ties into the free collection on Adobe stock for you to use without royalties. All right, but anyway, we are photographers, or at least most of us watching this are, so we're going to use our own photos instead. Now, you can upload a photo. If you've already got a photo exported out of Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever, you can export it, upload a JPEG and away you go. But I don't do that. I just simply use the photos I already have in Lightroom. Now, you might say, well, I only see upload photo. Where's Lightroom? The little menu to the right here. So if I click the little menu to the right, now I see all the other places I can get photos from. I can get photos from my Adobe stock photos, meaning photos I've licensed. I can get photos from Lightroom, which is what we're going to do. I get photos from my other cloud storage, so Dropbox, Google Drive, and Google Photos. So we tie into the other ways as well. Now, if you have them in a Creative Cloud library, you can go grab them from a library. Library is down here in the lower left. But in this case, I want to grab them from Lightroom. So it's going to bring up this Lightroom window. And of course, the images would have had to have been synced to the cloud because it's obviously talking to the cloud, not your Lightroom Classic catalog. All right, so I'm going to say that, hey, I like this one. No, you know what? Let me go in and grab one of my drone shots. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a drone shot. I like this one. Let's go ahead and bring that in, and it simply replaces that shot that we had with the drone shot from Lightroom. It might take a second for it to clear up or render. So if it looks blurry at first, don't worry about it. Just give it a second and it should straighten out. All right, so now that's the first photo I brought in. I can close the photo window. And again, I can click on this and I can do, I can replace it. I can run filters on it. I can do enhancements. But again, as a photographer, you would have already done all those things. In other words, you're probably not interested in the editing in Adobe Express as a photographer because you've got better editing tools to do this with. You got Lightroom and Photoshop, which are 10 times better in terms of features and what it can do. So this is for the person that's not a photographer to quickly do some edits to their photo. Okay, so next, I don't want to say how to ace your competition or your composition. Instead, I'm going to click on this text where I get a text box, and I can change it to whatever I want it to say. I always do that. I always highlight it and then click out of it. All right, how to use your drone. Okay, great. So now I've got better text that I wanted to say, and of course I could change this text as well. So if I don't like this text, I can just, now, let me show you one thing that might throw you off at first. When I clicked on this photography tutorials the first time, it said edit group, because what the template designer did was they grouped photography tutorials with the camera icon. So at first glance, I don't see the box to edit my text. All you have to do, you don't have to ungroup it. All you have to do is click again. And then I'll take you into the thing you just clicked on. So if it's a group, which templates are notorious for having lots of things grouped, so you can move them around together and keep the design intact. And you want to edit what's in the group, just click again, and that will take you into editing what's in the group. Now that may throw off the look of the group if I like add 3 words or 4 words, but just keep in mind that a group can be ungrouped. You can move them around separately, but they can still be edited as a group. So I'll leave photography tutorials for now. So the next thing that you might want to do, we've used our own photo that we've already adjusted in Lightroom. We've changed the text, but maybe I don't like the look of the text because again, this was the original template. So if I click on this text again, one of the cool things that we've done, or the Express team has done down here at the bottom here, is they've given you font recommendations. So if you want to change the look of something, just click on a different look and you can try it. So if you don't like those first 4 suggestions, explore more and it'll just keep giving you more suggestions. Show more. And this, I was hoping it would show me the suggestion guy. I ran into this the other day. I was like, oh, this cracks me up. How about we change our text now? Because that looks so much like, and you'll get it when I do this. Hang on, let's close this for a second. Let's say instead of how to use your drone, how about game of drones? There we go. Sorry. Anyway, some of you will get that, some of you won't. All right, but anyway, so let's say I like the Game of Thrones. I can make it bigger. So just grab a handle and just stretch it out. And if you were to click on one of these and it wasn't quite what you wanted, then you notice that, hang on, let me see if I explore more. You notice that there's this little symbol here. Let me get out of the way. This little symbol over here right above each one of these. It says more like this. So if you click more like this, it says, I kind of like that one, but it needs to be tweaked a little. Then it'll show you slightly different variations of each one. They may all look the same at first, but they are all slightly different kerning, tracking, leading, which are all font things. But anyway, I don't like those, so I'm going to just click undo and go back to my Game of Thrones. So that's the other thing. You have your undo buttons at the top and your redo buttons at the top. You have unlimited undos and unlimited redos. All right, so the Game of Drones is here. Now, I want to personalize it more. Can I add another photo? Can I add a logo? Can I make it more about me? Because it doesn't say anything about me right now. It just says photography tutorials, Game of Drones, By who? Terry White, who or who? So I want to add two things. I want to add a photo and a logo. So I'm going to go ahead and add a logo. Now, back up. Remember when I said it's free? And it is. Everything I just showed you is free. But remember I said if you're a paying customer, meaning you're a Creative Cloud customer already, and you're using this, then you get an additional feature, which I'm about to show you right now. So this particular thing I'm about to show you doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means it's built in for free people. For paid people. So there's something called branding. So when you're back on your, let me see if I can do, yeah, when you're back on your home screen, you can create a brand. So when you create a brand is consisting of, I think, three things: logos, colors, and fonts. So like if you think about it, when you design a brand like Terry White Photography, I had a logo created. There's specific colors I had that were used to paint my studio, and there was a specific fonts I use when I was typing Terry White Photography. So those are all part of being a brand. So this way, if you add all those things to your brand, when you create a brand in Express, then you get to pick and use them all the time because they're already there. So for example, if I were to go to this, click again, and I were to go to colors, notice here at the very top, here I'll zoom in so you can see it, it says TW because I'm in the TW brand. So those colors are from my brand. So if I wanted to make this my branded color, I can click on it. I have a purple color that's a brand, that's part of my brand. I have a gray color that's a part of my brand. So I can click on those colors and make those, add those at any time. But also part of my brand is the ability to go in and grab a logo. So if I click logos, boom, they're already there because I've already added my logo when I created the brand. So anytime I need my logo, I just click on it, and my logo's there. So now I can go ahead and I can pull my logo down. Here, I can go ahead and make the logo smaller if I want. Doesn't need to be that big and obnoxious. We can just have the brand there anytime we want. And now that I moved it out of the way, I can move that over, move the panel out of the way. Okay, so now let's say I want to add another photo. So we go to Photos. We go, same thing, you can upload a photo for free anytime, even if you're not using Lightroom, just upload a photo whenever you want. Or since I am using Lightroom, I'm going to go to my Lightroom photos. And in my Lightroom photos, I'm going to once again say show all albums, go to TWP, go to this particular one, which has got a photo of me, and there's a photo of me with a camera. Great. All right, so that brings in the photo of me with a camera, just plops it on the page. I can move it around, put it where I want, and scale it down. But at the same time, it kind of looks weird just with that gray background or that background that was there. So do I have to jump out of this, go to the quick actions, drag it in, upload it in, make a remove photo? No. Remove photo is actually part of the image editing. So if I just simply say remove background, it will use the cloud version of Photoshop to remove the background for me. So just like that. So now the background's been removed. It did a much better job than it did on Krista. And I can say, oh, you know what? Probably looks better with the logo over here. Probably looks better with me in the corner. Probably looks better if I'm a little smaller. There we go. And boom. All right. So that's how we would add another photo, scale it down, remove the background, put it where you want. Now, last but not least on this, I want to do one more thing. I'm talking about drones. You see kind of a drone shot, but the visual in the photography tutorials is a camera. So that doesn't really work. I can leave the camera there because maybe that's a branding for photography tutorial series I'm doing. But in this case, I really want a drone. And I don't have an outline vector thing of a drone. So let's go ahead and get one. So let's go to Shapes. These are all there ready to use, royalty free. You can just grab whatever you want. Search for what you want. I want a drone. And boom. You get dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, depending on what you asked for, drones. And so someone's got a lot of time on their hands and makes a bunch of drones. Woo! It literally just goes on and like I haven't ever searched for something and it was like one page. Like it scrolls and scrolls and scrolls. So like if you ever have to worry about using the one that someone else used, chances are there's a bunch in here you can use. So I kind of like this one. But then now that I'm looking, I kind of like this one too because it's an old style drone with the camera on it. But whichever. So let's say I like this one. I click it and just plops it on the page just like it did the photo. And it's like, where to get the blue from? Believe it or not, when you, hang on for a second, believe it or not, when you add elements after you've added your photo, it creates a color palette based on the photo. So that blue is actually coming from the photos that were used earlier. All right, so I don't necessarily have to keep it, but that's where, if you're wondering, like, how is it getting these colors? That's where it gets the colors from. All right, so I'm going to make it a little smaller, and I don't want that blue. I don't like that blue. So no problem. You see the blue over here while you've got the object selected, the shape selected. You can always use your brand. Your brand is always going to be there. It's going to show you the current palette of colors based on what's on the screen. So if I like the white better, I could use the white. If I want to use brown, which I wouldn't, I want to use that, which I wouldn't, I want to use the original color, which I wouldn't. Or if there's a color of something else you want to use, like the text, you have an eyedropper. And then you can just literally hover over whatever color you want and click. So that way you get the exact color you want. Okay, I'm not sure I want that color, but I could also add blend modes. So there are a couple blend modes right here, so I can go multiply. Kind of make that so like a little more subtle. So it's just not so in my face that, hey, we're doing drone stuff. So I kind of like that better. Now we're getting to some tweaking. So maybe I want the Game of Thrones even a little bigger, and maybe I want it to be down a little bit. And now it would just be literally personal preferences at this point. Do you want the photography tutorials? Do you want it to be that font? Do you want it to be that color? Do you want the camera icon? Do you want a different image in the back? All of that. Now we're just getting into tweaking and personal differences. So let's say we're finished, because we are. At this point, what can I do with it? So at this point, I can go in and I can say, download, because I'm ready to use this now. So I can say download, and I can download it as a PNG file, a JPEG, or a PDF. So PDF is fairly new, but that way you're going to have the best quality of things, and it's not going to be just a static graphic. Now, PNG, obviously, if it was something that was just going to support transparency, it would have the transparency support. If it were, if you just want to have the maximum compatibility, I don't know of too many things that don't accept a JPEG. So either one you want, whenever you say download, it will put it in your downloads folder, but your project will always be here for you to come back to. Speaking of that, it's going to name everything My Project by default. So see that in the upper left corner? You want to change the name of these so you don't have My Project 1, My Project 2, My Project, so forth and so on. So let's say Game of Drones. All right, great. So next up, we could say download, we could be done. And that would have been expressed like a couple months ago. Any option to download as a layers and add in Photoshop? Nope, because this product is not intended for that crowd. So you're thinking, I'm an advanced user, be great to have this as a Photoshop file. I can pick and do whatever I want with Photoshop file. The customers using this are not typically Photoshop users. So that's why it's never been a thing to download it. Now, theory, I haven't tried it. Download it as PDF, open the PDF and see what you get in Photoshop, because Photoshop can open PDFs. I don't know. I've never tried to see if you're going to get layers or not. But speaking of layers, let's say that I move myself in front of Game of Drones. but I really want to be behind Game of Drones for whatever reason. I want to be behind the text. You do have layers here in Express. So let me get out of the way. Over here on the bottom right-hand corner, you will always see the layers. And when you click, it will show you those layers. So even for a non-advanced user, because we do need to put things behind things, because right now it's just putting them in the order you brought them in instead of putting them in the order you want them in. So we did the photo first, then we did Game of Thrones, so forth and so on. So if I want my photo of me behind Game of Thrones, I would just pick it up and drag it down. And now I'm behind Game of Thrones. So you do have layering here. You just don't have exported out as a PSD file to be able to edit, because that's just not the use case. Just people you're talking about. I've never even heard anyone ask for that before. So it's very few people that would want that. Not that it's not a valid thing. It's just very few people that want it. All right, so there we are. One more thing. So I was saying that this is the way we used to do it. Now, unfortunately, if I wanted to make an Instagram story also, I have my YouTube thumbnail. I want to announce this on Instagram too, that I'm coming out with this drone video. I'd have to start from scratch. I'd either have to duplicate the project and then resize it and reshape it and move everything around and have two projects, one for Instagram stories, one for the YouTube thumbnail. Then I have to make another project for my Twitter and Facebook or whatever, LinkedIn, wherever I'm going to show it. So I would have to make 3 or 4 separate projects to have all the various sizes that I want. Well, not anymore, because you can now, at the very bottom here, I don't know if you can see that, there is a new feature called Add a Page. So Adobe Express now supports multiple pages. So if I click Add Page, I can say, and actually, you know what? I don't want to add a page. I want to duplicate the page. That's even better. Because if I had said add page and then pick the size I want, like Instagram story, then it'd just be a blank Instagram story page. No. I don't want to start from scratch. I want to keep this and make an Instagram story out of it. So I'm going to say duplicate page, and it will make a duplicate page. And so now I have page 2 and page 1. I'm just clicking between them down here at the bottom. But they're identical, obviously, because all I said was duplicate the page. Now that I have page 2 with everything on it, now I can resize it without having to make a whole new project. So over here on the right-hand side, I don't know what an Instagram story is. I don't know what size it is. I don't know what pixel dimensions it is. I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and say resize to Snapchat story would be the same, by the way. But let's go up here and just make sure we have the right one. Instagram story. Oh, it's 1080 by 1920. Good to know. So I click resize, and it just basically does that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to resize it to your liking and everything's going to be exactly where you want it to be. So you might have to move some stuff around, resize some stuff. But now you have the bulk of the work done. It's the right format, it's the right size, and everything's there. So I want to put this up here. I'll make this a little bigger for the story. I want to put this up here. It's a group, so I can move it where I want it, and it smart aligns it. And then, oh, hang on, I want to make that bigger. So now let's move it back over. Great. Game of Drones, I want to maybe move that down now because maybe it just looked better at the bottom as an Instagram story. Well, not all the way at the bottom because I'm going to be at the bottom instead of floating in midair. And then maybe I'm going to put my logo over here, kind of balance things out. All right, so now I have, and maybe I move that up, maybe I move it down, maybe I keep it in the middle, but this is all personal preference. It's right aligned, so let's move it over to the right. Okay, so now I have my Instagram story and I have my YouTube thumbnail. So one does not change the other. White line, right side. Yeah, the white line on the right side is just a graphic element. It's just there. It's just part of the original template. You can delete, oh, that's the other thing. Let's say, hey, that white line is stupid, I don't need it. Then delete it. You don't have to keep anything in the template. So that's the other thing I run into. People like, well, I don't have that many things to say. I don't need that many text boxes. Then delete the ones you don't need. I don't need 3 graphics. Then delete the one you don't need. I don't need, so if the template has something in it you don't want, then just delete it. You don't have to use everything here. If I don't need photography tutorials, Bye. It's gone. I still have it on the first page in case I need it, but it's gone. And if oh no, I need that, undo. It's back. Okay, delete is your friend, absolutely. Get rid of things you don't need. So the template is there, it's just a template, it's not the law. You don't have to use it. All right. If it doesn't spark joy, delete. Yes, I agree. All right, so just, it removes the background completely. Wow. Yep, David, it removes the background completely. Wow. All right, so my Instagram. Now, let's say I then choose to download this. It's going to let me download this page, all pages, and whatever format I want them in. So let's say I want just this page as a JPEG. Boom, it threw it in my downloads. Let's go look at my downloads. And there it is, Game of Drones. Now, that's another reason why we named it, so that we can use, so that we would know which one it is. It's Game of Drones, page 2. Oh, what happened to my photo? That's weird. Hang on. Why did my photo not appear? I'll just choose a different format just so I can see, just to see what happened. What's going on with my photo? My photo's visibly there. It's not turned off. Here, let me try this. Download all pages. I want to see if it's on the first page. Okay, they should both be there. Oh, downloads a zip of both of them. Interesting. That one's not there. That one is. I don't know. Okay, you know what? Let's just simply replace it. I don't know why it doesn't see my background photo, but no problem. I can go grab it again. That's most likely just a bug. But let's go and go here. That's going to drive me crazy until I see it download. All right, we were doing drone photography and we were using that one. All right. I see what it is. It was just so big for some reason. It wasn't, it was only showing like a small part of it. Even though physically for us, it showed it to us. That was weird. Okay, so now let's try it. It should be okay now. This page. No. Okay, I don't know why it's not downloading and showing me that page for some reason, but that's a weird one. I'll share that with the Express team. That's just a bug for whatever reason. It's not showing it to me. But download that. It's going to keep bugging me though. Hang on, let's try a different format. It just does not want to see that graphic for some reason. As a PDF it sees it, and it sees it with different type, which is even weirder. All right, something's going on with this page for some reason, but it is there. There's some kind of bug with the downloading. Now, by the way, share. I'm even more curious now. Hang on, let me try this. I just want to see what happens when I open it in the mobile app. All right, so sharing lets me scan the QR code and hopefully open in the mobile app. It looks like it tried, but there it is. So there are my 2 pages. I'm going to say edit. Okay, and I'm going to go to page 2. And page 2, I'm going to download. I just want to see if it downloads it on my phone. Select the pages, downloads. So that's where I'd be posting it to Instagram anyway, but it should have worked no matter what. And it did this time. So here it is. Not sure why in the browser it's not showing it to me, but here it is, downloaded on my phone, ready to go to Instagram as a story, which is where I would do it anyway. But still, that's a bug. That should not happen. It should work on desktop as well. Okay, so that was a quick, just like in-depth look at creating, using a template, using your own photos, removing backgrounds, and We didn't add the QR code, but we can. Let's go do one more real quick. We have a few minutes left. So now we're just going to quickly run through an example since you've kind of seen the whole workflow. So photography, let's say I want to design a business card. I know we don't use business cards anymore. We don't talk to people anymore outside of our screens, but this is one I used in the video I just did the other day. But let's go ahead and grab a different one, start from this one. And Don Connor, lifestyle photographer. So I'm going to go ahead and replace Don's background photo with one of my own. Actually, you know what? No, I want to replace this with a solid color. I use my color for my template. Great. Now I'm going and grab one of the photos we already cut out. So let's go ahead and grab that picture of Chandra. Not that one. Oh no, it's in my downloads. That's right. There we go. And it would be probably, nope. Nope. This one. There it is. Okay, there's the one of Chandra. Drop it in, no background. Drop her in the lower right corner. Make her a little bigger. We can move all this stuff around. I don't know why this is 2 lines for some reason. The template person made that too, so I'm probably going to delete those anyway. All right, so let's first and foremost get rid of one of these. I don't need 2. I don't need either one, actually. Let's get rid of both. Let's change the name. Now, when it does that, it just simply means the box is too small. So just make the box wide again. And I'm going to change that from lifestyle to portrait. Great. And then we're going to add our QR code. Photos. Upload photo. From the downloads, it's going to be, I think, this one. There's our QR code. Great. So that should work. Scale that down. Put that over here. And I absolutely hate these fonts. So let's go here. Let's get some font recommendations. Let's try that. And let's try that. There we go. Some nice contrast there, thick and thin. And I'll probably like it better over here. Great. Card's ready to go. You can download it. And start download. Saving my project. Now downloading. And let's check that out. In my downloads folder. There it is. Ready to go. Business card, all set. So complete with a background cutout. I can see some little fringing here. So again, depending on what background you're going to use or cutting that out from, may or may not work for you. But business card, ready to go. QR code, name, whatever. And let's say you need to add more text, last thing, because it only gave me these 2, my name and my title or what I do. Maybe you want to put your phone number, maybe you want to put other things. So I click add text. It even gives me some styles for the text that it's about to add. So if you want to style your text a certain way, like a quote, or maybe you're doing a sale or whatever, you can go ahead and put those things in. And if not, just go ahead and add text. And now just put a box and you can say, Terry White dot photography. Obviously too big, no problem. Scale it down. Line it up. Or maybe I want to keep things right aligned. There we go. Because I can. We got 1 minute left. Less than a minute. But because I can. All right. Now I'd have to change and do all that stuff too. Let's put a shape behind it. There we go. Make it easier to see. But you get the idea. Have fun, guys. So hopefully you got something out of this. Will Express do a text wrap? It does not. But it does do a lot of cool things with formatting text into squares and text looks like it's running around or bending down over something. Doesn't do an actual text wrap though. So if I put it next to her, it's not going to wrap around her or anything like that. Okay, and I need to fix the alignment. There we go. Cool. Glad you got something out of it, James, Jennifer, and so forth and so on. I'm out of time, so stay tuned for the next masterclass, or actually a daily creative challenge, then a masterclass. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Go have fun with Adobe Express.